Hey guys, it's Michael Todd and welcome to the Cult of Vintage. Today, you guys, we are back at Ohio's, and I think the East Coast largest antique mall, as a matter of fact, Heart of Ohio. It is huge, it is massive. Um, I'm telling you, if there's ever an antique mall where you're like, what should we do from dawn to dusk? Here it is. It's so big that they've actually put in a cafe so that you can get something to eat. It's just an amazing store. We've been here before. I think 3 or 4 videos of this antique mall. It has a lot of very high-end antiques, things that are extremely unique, rare, hard to find. We're gonna get inside and look at all of the beautiful things, and we might even pick up a couple of things. So let's do it. Here is our entrance drugs. You know, Coca-Cola used to contain cocaine, just saying. We're gonna go down wing number 6, and I wanna take you to a little bit of a secret here. It's all the way at the back. Here we go. The secret is this room at the end here. It's the antique furniture showroom. There's more than just furniture, and what I wanna show you is a particular vendor located right over here. Okay, guys, here we go. It is secret booth time. Now, in a place like Heart of Ohio, it can be difficult for a reseller to come in and find vintage or antique items with enough room left for profit. Coming in here a number of different times, I've really been able to kind of discern which vendors are going to have those items. They seem to be in the business of buying and flipping and turning their items over, and this vendor is a great example of it. Now, we did see, of course, the Pyrex, the butter print, that's priced at 125 for the collection of 3 mixing bowls. The larger floral paperweight there at 42. Those were not items that make the best example, but here we do have this Amerlou style perfume bottle at only $14.99. I am looking to see if the glass dauber is intact. It is intact, fully intact. There's no damage to it. You can see the tip of it goes all the way down into the bottle. So at $15, I most certainly do decide to go ahead and pick that up. Now, this antique, quote unquote, antique doorknob was $18. I had initially decided to get it. However, it would have been an item for Richard in a remodel that he is doing. However, he said that was a reproduction, very popular in the 80s. So he did ultimately put that one back. We do have an example of here of some Danish glass. We've got some pretty little blue, the hand vases here, the bud vases. And we do think those are more modern reproduction of them. Of course, the milk glasses here. We have the fleur de lis vase here. I actually have one of these I was able to purchase from Barb from Weeking Owl Antiques several years ago. I use it as a Christmas vase. I think she's beautiful. It's got a gorgeous transfer image of there of like a Gibson girl, if you will. A plain glaze here on the back, but it is beautiful. I do set it in the basket, but ultimately I make another decision. Here, this same vendor, a variety of different items. We, of course, have the Fisher Price Little People, and they do have the OGs, the originals, with the wooden bodies on them, little grab baggies there. Overall, really good prices on those, but I do decide to leave those behind. Here, we've got a little China head baby doll. I'm looking to see where she is marked. She does say Germany. I'm looking to see how deep the mark is on there. She is priced at $40. I do decide to go ahead and get her. I think she's absolutely adorable. Do keep in mind that even though it does say Germany, it may be a Japanese reproduction. The only way that you can really discern is to look for any crazing and, of course, to see how deep that incised mark on there is. Got 2 little folk art dolls here. Now they're priced at 125. Definitely not any room for profit. So I do ultimately decide to leave those behind. We do have some ephemera in here. Prices are really reasonable. This is like piano music. I'm not the biggest fan of the piano music because you really and truly are buying it for the cover art. There's not a whole lot of content in there unless, of course, somebody is a musician. They play the piano. These are great for those folks, but I've not done too well with those in the past, so I do decide to leave those behind. We obviously have a lot of the nesting birds over here. I don't see anything that is so super amazing or special until I spot this little jadeite one here. This is I believe, the Indiana glass one. Um, Overall, really good. It's priced at $34. Yeah, 34. That's really not that bad. However, checking out comps on eBay, it goes for about 34 to about 45. So just trying to make smart decisions with regard to where I spend my money, but definitely wanted to check those out. Now down here, we've got some little plush, and it looks like we have a little cloth doll here made to look like, of course, the Yankees player Babe Ruth. He's only $7. He goes for about 7 to 15, of course, depending on his condition. So set him back. We do have like a little dream pet esque guy here. It looks like he's a little carnival prize. I do set him back. He was cute, but what I was really gravitated towards was this little. You stay there, sir. Was this little stiff kitten here? Overall, really good condition. He has got quite the expression on his face. And only $5, you most certainly believe I picked him up. Checking out this little shot glass set here. I love the little insert that they have on those, but it does turn out that they're actually souvenir pieces. Of course, you're seeing Niagara Falls there. Can't quite make out that one. Um, uh, Florida. I'm just not the biggest souvenir fan, so I do leave those behind, but it is a good price on them nonetheless. Look at that claw foot on this cabinet. It's beautiful. I love it. And hidden in there, I do see this little, like, almost opaline milk glass e-print, single horn e-print, of course. We do have some gold detailing on those. It's priced at 55. You're going to know, I'm pulling out the horn here to see if there's any damage. It's a bit crudely done. So I'm going to call this more in line with like a bohemian glass. And please keep in mind, I use that as the generic term. I'm not assigning it as bohemian. Um, the gold detailing, a lot of it was missing, and unfortunately, I thought it was a bit distracting. It wasn't one of those pieces where I thought that the damage kind of added to the aesthetic value of it, so I did leave it behind. I kind of pulled it out a little bit more just to give it a little bit more prominence in there. Look at this figurine. Oh, it is quite the take on Little Red Riding Hood. I wanted to see, was it hallmarked or marked? No. Thankfully, the vendor did put down in there, it's Staffordshire Red Riding Hood, 195. I had to leave that one behind. Gorgeous. Oh, look at that cobalt with that gold detailing on that. It reminds me of Cambridge glass, the pattern to it. Don't know if it is, but it's very reminiscent of it. Now, this same vendor that had the Staffordshire and the what I'm calling the Cambridge glass does have these really interesting kind of Pacific Northwest indigenous artwork here. We do, of course, have the materials that were used to create it. It's Bill Gregg. I have not been able to find any information. I have subsequently sold these. Again, with artwork, it's really buying on aesthetic value. Do you like it? I do. I think it's unusual. I think it goes great in kind of like that, oh, that not Midwest, that deserty region. Oh, what do they call it? Oh, like, like the deserty. Ah, like the Pueblo art, Navajo art. So I do decide to go ahead and pick up both of these. They have this listed as a smoke, printed on smoke coated glass. I really found that to be interesting. The glass itself is the artwork, so I do pick those up. Here I am making those tough decisions. The fleur de lis vase I am going to put back. I am. It's a very specific look. If I were to have gotten it, it definitely would have been to keep to kind of match the other one. So I said, Michael, behave and set it back. So I did. But in setting it back, I did see, of course, this marble glass from Benton. It is the cabbage rose pattern at 17.99. That's actually a really good price, but I'm not overly sold on the cabbage rose pattern. It's just not my favorite, so I do decide to leave that one behind. Something that I have really enjoyed finding are the vintage or antique children's books. Um, this is, of course, Fern Beistel Pete is the illustrator on this one. Printed, that is 1931. The images in this are just so bright and vibrant. It's in excellent condition. It is definitely at the top end of what I would want to spend for a children's book. However, with the illustrations, with the condition of this, most especially, I do decide that I do want to pick this one up. I know that there are a lot of bird lovers out there. You set the bird feeders out there, and it's nice to see them come and flock together. And it's just a very relaxing hobby. So, I do pick this up. That bluebird was about to get that bumblebee. Run, bumblebee, run! Look at that. We're filling up our basket right out of the gate. Love it. Only two or three vendors have already supplied us with some great items. Now, the nylock. I always look at the reference books. I'm always on the hunt for the Viking glass one. That thing goes for $100 plus. So I always keep my eye out on it. I didn't identify the Viking glass one here. However, these did catch my eye. These little bookends here. Um, they look to be a little more contemporary, kind of like a vintage or antique vibe to them, but it is very reminiscent of a lot of the Italian souvenir pieces. And a lot of those Italian souvenir, like the iconographies, religious figures, those do go for some good money. Loving the armchair here, of course. Now, I believe this was a new vendor, at least a new vendor to me. They may have settled in there for a little bit, but the items all looked very fresh and new to me. Did spot, of course, the fairy lamp here. This is a flashed glass. You can see the amber undertone, and then they would paint on and fire the red paint. Of course, the heat creates that chemical reaction. This one's priced at $38. I don't know how I feel about that, given that it's flashed glass. I have in the past purchased these and used nail polish remover to take off the red paint, and then you're left with a beautiful amber glass fairy lamp. So if you do find that and you do see the red paint is flaking off, don't leave it behind. Get it. If you love that warm glow of amber glass, certainly pick it up. It won't take that much time or effort to pull that red paint off. And sometimes you can get it off with a good hot red water. Good hot water can sometimes help remove that paint too. Again, speaking of the religious iconography, I thought this was absolutely beautiful, like a little prayer altar here. 75. I don't think that that is really that bad. I don't know the shipping of it, the logistics of it all might be a little crazy. So I do leave that one behind. Really interesting floor lamp here. It's a look, that is for sure, but I can appreciate it. Next up, we do have a vendor that is a glass lover, most especially the carnival glass here. Will say that I kind of have turned my nose up in the past, truth be told, with the carnival glass. However, I have really begun to have a greater appreciation for it. Still not the biggest marigold fan, I won't lie, but the other colors I really do enjoy. When you use that amber glass, I think it's very common. Of course, gorgeous little rose bill, 325. We're not going to get that, but it was still pretty to see. A little chalkware figurine here of Miss Martha Washington. Martha, there is some condition issues to her little chip here on the back, but the price was right, and I do decide to get her. And I gave her as like a little giveaway, a little freebie to someone who had made a purchase with me. So I like putting in the little smalls. She's going to come with us, gosh darn it. And we are now, of course, down in the display cabinet checking out all of the smalls. I have said it before, and I'm going to say it again and say it again and again and again and again. I do love a good small. They're perfect for kind of tucking into small spaces, and I love different heights in collections. I think that it adds a lot of visual appeal when everything is one size, one color, one pattern. I think there is something that can be said for that. But again, I just like having little details, kind of little visual treasures kind of tucked in there to kind of break up the monotony sometimes. It can be really fun, really interesting. We've got this anatomy chart here. The person has got a very Asian feel to it, and then I do see, of course, see kanji down here. So I wonder if this wasn't like an immigration. It kind of helped with. Uh, English, the English language. This one's priced at 115. I don't think it is really that bad. I think that the subject matter is really interesting. Again, I can't but help think if this wasn't immigrants from Asian countries coming over and learning English. I thought that was really interesting, and it's a great snapshot of American history. The donkey here is what I'm zeroing in on. This is a Shunhut. I do prefer the ones with the glass eyes. This one obviously has the painted on eye. And right above, we do have some Dirger types. These are really interesting subject matter. Ooh, we're out of focus. So the prices really are dictated a lot of times by the photo itself. Keeping in mind that even though you find a blank photo, a tintype, you can get cases separately. This is really interesting. They actually took the case and put in flowers in there, and they created a little pattern, a small bouquet. I think that's really interesting and unique, and I'm kind of shocked that I didn't pick that one up. Sweetmeats. I don't know how I feel about that. Just saying that word, sweetmeats, is kind of, mm, don't know. Ew. It's the guts and the innards, in case you didn't weren't familiar with what sweetmeats was. This very nautical or beachy kind of inkwell is interesting. The inkwell itself reminds me of like a snail shell, so that was cool. Got a little bit of a mod vibe going on here, and we do, of course, have some antique dolls. You saw earlier the China head doll, and this one here is a little bisque baby doll. You all know, if you've watched the videos lately, I have been really checking out the antique and vintage dolls. I think that they're fun. This lady here, while she does have the quote unquote China head doll look to her, she does appear to be more of a chalkware, and she does have a leather body, but the prices just simply weren't where I would need it to be. I know many of you have expressed an interest in the Flow Blue. I know quite a few of you are still actively collecting it. I did see, of course, this case here with a whole collection of a specific pattern in the Flow Blue. I think it has a really interesting history to it. The fact that American collectors really apprize and value the ones that have the flow to it, whereas English collectors, and these, of course, were produced in England, um, you see the terrain right there, how crisp that image is. That is something that the UK collectors would go after. Really interesting. Again, talking about a snapshot of American history. Look at these sports. I mean, my goodness, just the technology um, that has evolved. I mean, obviously those are leather and all of the well, yeah, the medical conditions that a player, especially football, can suffer. Having those wear those now, I mean, you can't imagine. Of course, the leather ball is there. Really cool to see. Here, again, speaking of tinies, we've got a whole cabinet full of them. And of course, little Wade Whimsy here, the nursery rhyme. He is priced at $12. I think he's really cute. Again, really interesting subject matter. And that soldier is aiming up at him. My goodness, watch out, little one. And of course, got some little lead figurines in here. I don't know what it is. Like the tiny things just they fascinate me. The intricacy, the detailing of them all. I mean, somebody had to sculpt to that scale, and I think that's just it's phenomenal. Do you see the tiny little ashtray there? I mean, come on, that's adorable. And of course, we've got some more Wade Whimsies here in the storybook or the nursery rhyme collections, and some glass animals. Those are cute, just not exactly what I'm looking for, but gosh darn it, I do love. Look at the little Miss Muffet. You see the spider there creeping up on her dress. I'm really digging all of it. And we got a little Dirge type here at $30. Yeah, I'm gonna get that. I love the tiny ones. There's just again talking about different sizes, different scales. I have some larger ones, and I like mixing up the different sizes because I think that it makes it much more visually interesting. Here we've got a little pin doll. She does have her little legs to her. She is itty bitty. We've got a collection of little metal doll clocks. That was only $10 for that baggie. So I do pick up the pin doll and the baggie of the vintage or antique. I think some of those metal clocks are antique. So I was quite excited to get that. Speaking about my excitement level, we do of course have this beautiful wall shelf. Look at the intricacy and the pattern. There is a little bit of damage to it, specifically down at the bottom. This one's priced at only $45. Now, I have to go and tap on Richard's shoulder to decide, is this worth the $45? He has much more knowledge with regard to the overall condition, the pattern, the age of it. Of course, we're seeing some beautiful, what I believe are maple leaves. Could be wrong. Let me know down in the comments. But the honeycomb in the leaves itself is worth it, I think. And again, there you're seeing, notice to the right and to the left, there's like a piece of wood that kind of finishes off that pattern. That is missing. However, due to the intricacy of the pattern, got a little splitting up here, but a little wood glue will fix that right up, no problem. I think the overall intricacy, and Richard did said yes, especially for the price. So we do get the shelf. Now, I immediately spotted this Edward Mobley elephant toy chest here. He's 29.50. This is insane. The price on this is phenomenal. Now, I know some of you may be looking at it and be like, well, it's priced like that because of the condition. Listen, I'm telling you, a magic sponge will clean this little fellow up. It would do wonders. Is he still going to have some paint loss and some scratches? Yes, but I'm telling you, with a little bit of elbow grease, this guy would clean up beautifully. He's charming. He is delightful. I think he is so sweet. The price is so good, given the condition. I simply, one, have one, but two, don't have anywhere else to store yet another Edward Mobley piece. I do have three. Um, I really hope that somebody sees this fellow, sees the price, sees the value, and rescues this guy. Speaking about rescuing, we do have, oh, I love it, the Brio. He is a Swedish wood toy. It's a stacking toy. So the little blocks that you see there, you can pull them out and kind of make your own soldier. Obviously, the head has to go on top one way or the other, or not. You can make him very tiny in stature by just putting his little arm and shoulders up there. So I do decide to go ahead, pick him up. I love the vintage toys. And speaking of, look at this little mechanical ducks and baskets. Oh my gosh, it's so adorable. I will say this is the price. Boom, 39.50. It might seem a little high, but gosh darn it, look, it works. Ooh, I don't know how I feel about it. It's a little weird. But overall, the plush is in great condition and it is charming. So this is a really good price for it, especially working. Speaking of a really good price, this little wind up toy here, he's got his leather ears. He's got the clown on top. There are some nominal, you see it there on the hind quarter, a little bit of scratching, but overall the paint is very vibrant. All of the pieces are here. It looks like somebody paid $5 out at one time. I'm going to pay 26. I do decide I want to test him out. It does work. I think that the world, everybody needs some good vintage toys in their collection. It's just a happy moment. It can make you smile. It's cute. It's funny. It's whimsical. I think there's a lot going on in the world right now, and to have this little bright, colorful fellow, I think is quite charming. And he's a little distracting too. Gosh darn it! So great price. Um, we're definitely gonna pick him up. I regret this. This is the Nylock Pottery Frog. It's very much done in a Van Briggle, the mulberry glaze. I love this. The price is really good. Obviously, he's missing the actual flower frog itself, but oh, I got distracted by a phone call and forgot it, and I went back and somebody bought it. Early block set here. I love the fact that there is a wooden container with a lithograph image on there. All of the blocks contain, but at 225, that's a little spendy for Michael. So cool to see nonetheless. Old weapons. Watch out, ladies and gentlemen. Or right here is the booth. If you're thinking of something a little nefarious, they've got you covered here at Heart of Ohio. Guns! Of course, they are locked up to keep everybody safe. Now, there's not just weapons, but we do have some beautiful turn of the century figural pieces here. Unfortunately, she does have quite the repair on there. The arms, you can kind of see that black slick to it. Um, eh, that's unfortunate. I really like the subject matter. Obviously, kind of like a Greek goddess. At 188, I don't know how I feel about that with the condition. Obviously, it's repaired, but I mean, maybe for the right person. I would just prefer her to not have been repaired at that price point. Beautiful chalkware figurine here. Obviously, she's super deco. Look at the dress she's wearing. Obviously, she does have some black paint missing there on the thigh, but oh, what great movement to the piece. Now, this is a reproduction. It is a Vargas girl. I think she's beautiful. Very pinup with the Afghans there. Obviously, very deco. But again, a reproduction, and that's okay. There's nothing wrong with it. I think it's charming. $12, not bad. Again, reproduction. Great chairs here. Look at those lion heads. My goodness. And the last item we're going to see here are these memory jars. So they would take and affix various things. I had never really taken note of these before. Richard had to point them out and explain what they were. This one's at 650. Alrighty guys, well there you have today's shopping trip. I had a great time per usual here at Heart of Ohio. I hope you guys enjoyed today's shopping adventure. We definitely, I think, saw some beautiful things. Speaking of which, down in the comments, let me know what your favorite find of the day was, or the item you wished I had most picked up. Either works and you know I'd appreciate it. And until next time guys, remember, keep it rusty, crusty, and dusty. Bye, guys.